in the month of August, aside from ourselves, 4 people read the article. All right? And so it really killed interest. Now, if Planet X was a non-starter to begin with, and this was just a tempest in a teapot, it would have stayed dead since August, right? Mm. No. It's because this topic resonates with people at a very deep level. It is because people have been following this for much longer than we have. One of the things I am amazed to learn is how much of a newbie I am after 10 years. Because I have people that have been following this topic from the 1930s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay? We have numerous accounts written about this and prophecies dating back to the 1970s. Now, so, wow, when I was out, in school and acting like your typical, hippie and whatnot, people were really doing something serious about this. And then an interesting thing happened. After 2003, for us as researchers, we had a period of what we called the quiescence, and we loved it. Interest was slowly, gradually returning and coming back, and we were continuing to publish and just doing, because for us, Nancy and Mark, well, it was a false start, but it didn't say to us to stop doing what we're doing, because everything else was consistent. Mm. We are still seeing the same evidence, and not only seeing it, but more and more and more and more piling on top of it, following in the same vein. So we kept seeing the same thing and more of the same thing. Then what happened in 2006 was I broke the story on the South Pole Telescope. That's when things started changing. And that's when we started seeing attacks on us that were unlike anything we'd ever seen before. We had, we had the cranks. We had the run-by fruiters. We had the foul-mouthed teenagers. We had all of that stuff. You see that, hey, what do you do? Like in the mobster movies, just say, it's the life we chose. It's just business, right? So that's fine. So vulgar teenagers. But now we were seeing a different beast, much more sophisticated, much more organized. And it started happening after we broke the story on the South Pole Telescope. And then what happened was in early 2008, there was imagery leaked by a fellow by Nibiru Shock 2012. The account was immediately compromised and stolen, and all kinds of nonsense happened on it. But we were tracking it down, and we published a video. And after we published that video with our analysis and our articles, then the attacks against us were simply vicious and brutal. They were just breathtaking in their scope. It was like, the best thing I could say, it was like, Operation Barbarossa in 1941 in Russia. When the Germans were advancing, they just simply ripped up everything in front of them.
Blitzkrieg. Yeah, here we come. Yeah.
Blitzkrieg. It was a blitzkrieg. We got hit with a blitzkrieg, and it was like, whoa, where's this coming from? And so you have to deal with it. And in the process of dealing with it, what we realized is that actually most of the disinformation on this topic today, a lot of people think that there's a lot of crank crazies out there, stupid websites, idiots, fools, whatever. No, there are. There are not, as the old saying goes, you don't have a snake under every rock, but there are snakes under rocks. Mm-hmm. What we had here was a case where we're looking at this and we are seeing this disinformation swelling up, and we started tracing it back. And I can tell you, being in the computer business for 23 years, and my client list included AT&T, Oracle, Sun Microsystem, Lockheed Martin, and so forth, I understand this a little bit better than the average schmo. Started tracing it back, and it's all coming out of London to a great extent, and with U.S. and Australia running tied for second place, far back in the pack. 80% of the disinformation on this topic comes out of London. The banking center of the world. Now, at first you have to deal with it. And so, because I just was tired of the attacks and the humiliation, and so, You come to understand the tactics. I was fortunate that Philip Gardner, who wrote the book Secret Societies, he used to teach disinformation and propaganda for the British government. And he looked at everything that was going on. He says, man, you stepped on somebody big. You stepped on the toes of somebody big, and they're going to crush you unless you wise up and figure out how to deal with it. He gave us some hints. We had some other people. We have anonymous folks that are, there's the guys with the black hats, but trust me, there's a lot of guys with the white hats out there too. They just are very quiet about how they do it. And they just, throw things over the transom, so to speak. And we saw, and we publish it on the site. We call it the Disinformation Playbook. And we put it up, and we reading through this disinformation playbook written by a guy by the name of Sweeney. And we're going, yeah, they did that to us. They did that to us. They did that to us. We realized it's a playbook. That's it. These are not very creative people that are doing the attacks. They have the mentality of petty retail merchants. These are not people you want to have over, for a meaningful spiritual evening, right? And you see their patterns, and once you see their patterns, it's like I can read the disinformation that's on the internet. Like, in the movie The Matrix, where you see the Matrix and you got all these, symbols and whatever streaming down the screen, and the guys go, once you get used to it, you can see exactly what's going on. I look at disinformation, I read it just the same way you could read Matrix code. But you have to be doing it after a while. Now, after we were fighting it, then I'm going, I'm sick and tired of fighting it. This is where's the gain here? I'm not making yardage. So how could I flip it? How could I turn the lemon into lemonade? And that is where I made a profound change in strategy. Instead of fighting the disinformation, I started following it, because they have the tools and the resources to find people that are saying things that are genuinely important so that they can destroy them. Very simple tactic. I call it 3 Ds. You defame, distract, destroy. First thing you do is you kill the messenger with any combination of lies, outrageous lies, scandals, truth, doesn't matter, as long as you can taint the integrity and intent of the person who's trying to reveal the information. Once you've done that, then you can kill the message with distraction. And so you get people off onto all their old pet, conspiracy theories, 9/11, dental hygiene, whatever it is. Once you've done that, you get them distracted into that. Then you stir up those old hatreds, those old arguments. You can then start playing one against the other, and then it all becomes petty personalities, ego-driven, angry. And the net result is the other people who are just lurking the dialogue, they're the audience, they grow tired of it because there's nothing meaningful for them. And what happens? The entire discussion dies.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So you defame, distract, deflect. What we started doing is we started following their attacks. Who were they going after? Why? And how? And when we did that, we learned more about Planet X than in any other form of research we've done. What we learned as a result of following this disinformation that is flooding the world from out of London is that Planet X is not behind the sun, as Nancy Leader says, and that Planet X is not out where people think it is with these hoax addresses on the Sky programs, like Wicca Sky and what have you. What they were doing was, with disinformation, remember, you want to deflect attention, you want to distract people, because it's not about being right or wrong. It's irrelevant to disinformation. It is about exhausting people's attention. They have a limited interest span. So what you do is you piddle it away with pointless, just keep them, taking them down rabbit holes, and they're going to walk away from the field. And that's what they're doing. So what do? They stampede everybody towards the sun with bogus cell phone photos. All right. We see just hundreds of these bogus cell phone. I took a picture with my cell phone. There's Nibiru right next to the sun.
Right.
Okay. Man, that's an old stunt. And I got to be honest with you, I know it's an old stunt because Disinfo Op placed it on me back in 2003. And I got wise to it.